Hello and welcome to episode number 63 of Hardest Part of the Ring, the podcast where four friends get together to celebrate the wonder of professional wrestling. Today, however, there aren't four, there aren't even three of us, there's just two. For the very first time, there are only two of us.
It's the forgotten sons of wrestling, of podcasting.
That's not good, that's not a good way to promote it.
Is it not? We can be Jackson Riker and... Oh God, who else is in the Forgotten Sons?
You've forgotten who the Forgotten Sons are.
We are the Forgotten Sons of the Hardest Part of the Ring, and we are here to pod.
We are. So that's Sam, obviously.
Hello.
Basically, we were umming and ahhing whether or not we were going to be able to fit in a chat about NXT TakeOver. As you may hear, I've got a rough cold. Sam's been really busy. Brett and John, they're doing stuff with their mums or something.
With each other's mums?
Hopefully their own mums.
Oh, wow.
Who knows? But they're busy being lovely little sons. Not the Forgotten Sons. They're actually the very present sons at the moment. So that's good. And we obviously have watched NXT TakeOver. We're getting together, most of us are getting together tomorrow to watch WrestleMania. And we thought, let's squeeze in a little episode.
It's a cheeky
to
pod.
talk about. It's a cheeky pod, just two of us. An interesting dynamic. But yeah, we're gonna try and keep it relatively brief because we've got stuff to do as well. We've got each other's mums coming over. So let's talk about NXT TakeOver New York 2019 after this.
Ribcage first across the apron!
NXT TakeOver New York was held at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. A classic venue for WWE shows and NXT takeovers.
Is it fair to say it's where all the best NXT and WWE stuff happens?
I think we could probably look into that at some point.
It feels like it has a
good
track record.
Yeah. Oh, it certainly does. And obviously this was phenomenal. Are we in agreement? We haven't sent any messages about it. Did you enjoy it, Sam? You watched it today.
So I don't want to be prone to hyperbole when I say it was the best wrestling thing I've ever seen.
This is excellent because we're both going to go way over the top. But that's what people want to hear.
Yeah, we're going to break out the 11s.
Yeah, maybe we will. So, there's no attendance on Wikipedia. That's how fresh this review is. There's not even an attendance.
They'll make up the number later.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, let's go through the card very quickly. In fact, let's not bother. Everybody knows what happened. There were 5 matches and we're going to talk about them all. And obviously we're going to talk about the main event probably the most. So should we start off with the NXT Tag Team Championship, War Raiders versus Aleister Black and Ricochet.
This is weird because it's a fantastic match, and yet equally I would say maybe the weakest match on the card.
I don't know. For me, the weakest is probably the women's match.
Oh, okay.
But it's all much of a muchness. Like, we're talking like a quarter of a point or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, any of these matches, if they were to appear on the WrestleMania card, would most likely be the match of the night.
Yeah.
The War Raiders are fantastically athletic for the size.
They're brilliant.
The only thing I kind of maybe was a little bit disingenuous for me with this match was the fact that kind of with the obvious call-up for Aleister Black and Ricochet, it was sort of a bit of a foregone conclusion.
Yeah. I guess, that's something you talk about quite a lot, isn't it? The fact that you like to be surprised and you don't really like to know what's going to happen, but I think everybody knew.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, do you know what? Aleister Black and Ricochet, they've earned it. Like, they've been servants to NXT in the time they've been there. Ricochet's not even been there that long, and he's had some incredible matches. And so for them to kind of have a send-off match like this was really great for them. And it was good for the War Raiders too, because Aleister Black has been booked so strongly that kind of it's nice to transfer a little bit of that back into the current card of NXT. Yeah,
absolutely agree with that. I mean, the fact that they got to have a send-off, as you say, that it's just... People don't get that. Usually, a lot of the time, call-ups, even though we might be able to predict they're going to happen, do tend to be semi-surprises when they happen.
Yeah.
At no point does anybody necessarily get to say goodbye. So, obviously, you could see that it had a big effect on them with Ricochet's tears.
Yeah. It was a nice moment.
Yeah, it was like quite a Goosebumps moment, actually. I was sort of watching that thinking, this is amazing.
Were you expecting Aleister Black to maybe break out of Black Mass at the very end? Just an old classic wrestling surprise. I'm a bad guy.
Yeah, I think if they weren't challenging for the SmackDown tag titles at WrestleMania, then that could have been quite a clever thing to do, to sort of immediately set them up for a feud on the main roster.
That's kind of what I actually possibly expected. That point when Ricochet hoisted Black out of the ring and he caught himself on the way down. I just thought, oh, are they going to build off that or something? But nah, it was just a moment. And this match itself was filled with many great moments. It's just insane how good all these guys are.
I love the sort of signs of respect at the start, where obviously Rowe, could have pulled the punch.
Yeah.
Aleister Black could have done the kick but stopped, and then the handshake.
Yeah.
And actually, there were a few matches like this where we had, well, I say a few, there were a couple of matches where it was basically sort of face versus face.
That is always a strange thing, isn't it? When there's so much respect being shown, that it's a little bit like, come on, you want them to hate each other. I think that's kind of what made Gargano Ciampa such a classic feud. And yeah, if I had to have a criticism again of this, it was that kind of having that respect made things a little bit less edgy, but the quality of matches put on,
I think they just dealt with it really well.
Yeah.
I think the way that these matches were booked, I think throughout the whole card, every single match was booked absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah, no one came off looking weak. It was just a really great performance from everyone. Favourite moment of the match for you?
Favourite moment? I don't know. There's a lot of chat about how athletic the War Raiders are. I kind of feel like it's there aren't many big guys who aren't athletic now.
That's true, actually.
In WWE and NXT, but Hansen, when he did that cannonball off the top rope,
that was very cool.
Firstly, that was just a cool move, and it's cool that he did it. But I was very impressed with the way the other three guys sort of took it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that could cause a lot of damage.
A good point, actually, about having to be a big guy but athletic in the WWE, unless you're Eric Rowan. Yeah.
Well, oh, sorry, I got Eric Rowan mixed up with Eric Young then. I was like, I don't think Eric Young's a big guy.
No, Eric Young doesn't even wrestle. Yeah, man, this was... there's just a lot of cool stuff here. I really enjoy seeing Thor's hammer as a tag team kind of move. I think that's a great move for a Viking-themed tag team. Yeah.
I had one small criticism, which was the bit where the War Raiders had Ricochet pinned. And then Aleister Black jumped and did the double stomp.
Oh, yeah, that didn't really break up the pin, did it?
No, it just made the pin even more secure, really. The ref just stopped counting.
I have a question about this match, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, because I don't know if you're going to be able to answer. At one point, the crowd got absolutely distracted. It was either with this match or it was with the Velveteen Dream.
It was this match.
What happened? Do you know?
Absolutely no idea. There's a big chant, and then they did a "You Deserve It," didn't they? For something that happened off camera.
Yeah, I guess someone must have been chucked out.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you always feel bad because you just see the workers thinking, "Come on, this is my, this is TakeOver. This is my moment," and particularly Black and Ricochet. Exactly. This is their final match there. But it got back on track.
Indeed. So yeah, solid match. Shall we move on to the Dream versus Riddle?
Let's do it. The NXT North American Championship match between Matt Riddle and the Velveteen Dream. Two great entrances.
Oh man, I really enjoyed Velveteen Dream's entrance. I'm going to call Matt Riddle out here for worst ring gear ever.
Well, it was the New York Yankee pinstripes.
I know. Yeah.
It didn't look... Yeah, I mean, it's quite a cool
I'm not
idea.
mad on Matt Riddle's ring gear, and I feel like I've seen more of Matt Riddle than I need to.
What do you mean? Because it's tight pants?
Very, very tight.
I mean, they all wear tight stuff these days.
I think Matt Riddle
is left to the imagination.
Yeah. Especially... I don't know. I think Matt Riddle just reminds me so much of a Greek statue that I'm just...
Yeah.
Something to worry about.
But anyway, Velveteen Dream.
Wow.
Statue of Liberty.
It's good.
Do you know what? When he got carried to the stage, to the ring, and he stepped off onto the ring, my first thought was, I probably should have given this guy a 10 in the draft.
We can have that discussion later with Walter.
Yeah, that's very true.
Velveteen Dream. Do you know what that thing is that he was carried out on? Is called, because I had to look it up.
No, what's it called?
So I was calling it a palindrome the whole time. It turns out a palindrome is a word spelt backwards the same way.
Yes.
It turns out it's a palanquin. So, yeah.
Okay.
Don't be dumb like
Interesting
me.
fact.
Yeah, palanquin facts with Sam.
What do we think of the match?
Yeah, holy shit. I really enjoyed this. Like, for me, the best thing they did here was having Velveteen Dream win. Like, They could have very easily gone down the Asuka route with Matt Riddle and just had undefeated, and kind of painted themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
And having Dream get the win, not only does it book him strong, because he has done a lot of jobbing for the big indie stars who have come into NXT. And he's really kind of earned his spot, not just on the card, but as one of the top faces or top people in the company.
Yeah. The best thing about it is the way that he won. Because the feud can carry on.
Yeah.
Riddle doesn't look weak at all. If anything, Riddle was the stronger of the two, wasn't he, in the match?
He was, yeah. I like Velveteen Dream going over like this. I feel like maybe he shouldn't have fist bumped him at the end. I think maybe he should have just been, yep, I win, bitch. But
yeah, that's a funny thing. But I mean, Riddle's transitions throughout were amazing.
Yes.
And he really did dominate, I thought. And he showed that vicious side, which I love. Because obviously,
absolutely.
His eccentricity and his gimmick as a whole and his character is obviously, really sort of, surfer dude and very amusing.
Come off very light-hearted, can't he?
Yeah, but when he starts getting those kicks in and like the beatdowns on the mat, it's fantastic.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed his reaction after he lost as well. Just kind of the absolute shock and anger. It hopefully displayed another side to Matt Riddle that I'm hoping to see more of as he continues to develop in NXT.
Yeah, I think he's going places. I think he's definitely a future NXT champ.
Certainly
and is he going to retire Brock? It's his dream. It's my dream. I think that'd be amazing.
Brock Lesnar's sat at home going, who's Matt Riddle? Like, nah. No one's retiring Brock. Brock's retiring Brock.
Yeah.
Great match. Fantastic win for Velveteen Dream and just really enjoyable.
What did you think to Dream's hulking up and then the big boot?
Do you know what? I like it. I really like it. Whenever Velveteen Dream does his homages to old wrestlers, it's just, you can really see that he is a fan among anything else. Like, kind of before being a consummate professional and an excellent wrestler, he is a huge wrestling fan. And that's what other fans of wrestling want to see. I mean, that's kind of why people like Kenny Omega so much, because he's such a massive fan of wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's so cool to see.
Do
you know
agreed.
what wasn't cool to see?
What?
So it turns out this event was sponsored by two things: Orange and Vanilla Coke, which what? Right?
Yeah, very strange.
The other thing
I didn't even notice that.
Well, the other thing it was sponsored by was DAZN, which I work for.
Oh, here we go.
I had no.
This is our first ad.
This is a anti-ad, ant-ad. I had no idea. It was a shock to me, and it was an unwelcome shock when my shitty job interrupted my shitty hobby.
What is it again? DAZN?
DAZN, yes, it's a streaming service for sports and stuff. It was weird. It was certainly weird for me.
Yeah, I suppose the first time I saw it was on the match graphic for this match, Riddle Dream.
Yeah.
I saw it on, and I was like, has Riddle got a new sponsor? Is that like a weird thing that's on his
Nope, that's
outfit?
That's the company I work for. Surprise.
Okay.
Yeah, weird. So that happened.
Yeah, brilliant match. And one last thing I just wanted to say is the repertoire that Riddle has of moves
really
is like there's so many different moves. I think.
See, I was going to say I really love Velveteen Dream's repertoire. I love his kind of old school '90s moves and his original stuff.
Yeah, well, both these guys, at the risk of getting in trouble with the Smarks for chanting both these guys, I will do it on this occasion because they're two of my absolute favourites.
Oh, they are. They're just best match for both of them in NXT so far, I reckon. So
I would say I preferred the Velveteen Dream Aleister Black match because the feud built better, and then the match itself was sort of a more satisfying end to a feud.
Do you know what? Actually, I'll give you that one because like the contrast between Black and Velveteen Dream is fantastic.
Yeah. And this one didn't have a huge amount of build. It was only a couple of weeks, really. But I think it's going to go on and on. And, maybe it could emulate that in the end. But very, very good. Okay. Next match number 3. When Riddle Dream came on, I was like, God, I'm so hyped for this. And then when Dunn versus Volta, when they started showing the video package, I was like, shit, I am so hyped for this.
So just quickly before we go over to Walter Pete Dunne, NXT signed Kushida.
Oh shit! Yeah, that happened.
Huh? I didn't.
That's quite a big deal.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah. How did you react to that?
Yeah,
You're a
I'm
big Kushida
pretty
fan, aren't you?
excited. I actually thought Kushida was quite old, so maybe I don't know. Maybe he's not actually old. Maybe I've been confused by the whole time travel stuff he does. But yeah, I don't know. He's a good wrestler. It'll be cool to see him in NXT. I hope he does better than Hideo Itami.
He's 35.
Oh, okay, that's kind of prime of his
Is
career.
that old? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ignore me.
So Pete Dunne versus Walter. This was obviously the United Kingdom Championship match that had the... I mean, it's amazing that it got a spot on NXT TakeOver. There was some chat beforehand, some fans sort of saying, this should have been kept for a NXT UK show, but surely it's going to it's going to get more eyes on NXT
Yeah,
UK
I
now.
disagree with that. Like, I appreciate where fans are coming from. Like, this is the UK stuff and we need to build in the UK and all that. But, WrestleMania season is the biggest event of the wrestling calendar in the world. So you got to be looking to be involved in like the biggest event in the world, surely.
Yeah. And so many people don't know who Walter is.
Well, yeah, that was interesting, actually. I thought the fan reaction was quite interesting to Walter.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is a good point. I didn't expect as many of them to necessarily know who he was. And he was getting a lot of cheers. And when he first came out and his music hit, he seemed fairly popular, good reception.
I suppose the thing with NXT fans is they are the more in the know fans, aren't they? They're the ones who are kind of really following a lot of the indie scene and kind of are a little bit more wrestling aware than your kind of 12-year-old SmackDown fan, I guess.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Yeah, I'm calling out all 12-year-olds right now.
I think we all predicted that Walter was going to win this. So it was quite strange when Dunn came out. I felt slightly misty-eyed when he was walking down with the belt in his mouth, thinking that's the last time he's going to get to bite that belt.
I'm so curious as to where he's going to go next.
I know. It really is an end of an era.
Yeah.
Like, for him to hold the belt for that long, basically 2 years.
Absolutely.
He is that championship.
Yeah, quite. He's put it on the map and he's made it more than just being a kind of dust collecting championship. He's made it into something which is worth fighting for. I quite like it when an early reign of a title is quite long and historic, because it kind of gives much more gravitas to when it changes hands. Like kind of what they did with the Cruiserweight title and what they did with the women's title when kind of Sasha and Charlotte came up with the flip-flopping. I don't feel like that lended it much prestige, whereas having a good long reign really does kind of nail it in as this is actually a title that means something.
Totally. And before that, Dunn, he had the Progress Championship. He had the Destiny Championship. I think at one point he had 3 belts, and now he's got no belts, and that is strange because he is a champ. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens with him. But I'm also very excited now to see what happens with Walter, because who on earth is going to be able to take the title of him the way that
they're going to need
portrayed.
to do a big build job in NXT UK. And to be honest, I haven't watched enough NXT UK to really have a qualified opinion on the matter, but I would imagine maybe your Travis Banks or someone would have a good shout at kind of filling a gap, doing a bit of build work between them, building up some of the younger stars like your Jordan Devlins.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Devlin and Walter have had an incredible feud going on at OTT, but I mean, Devlin would be my guess, but maybe they're going to have to sign someone else.
Yeah, I think kind of NXT UK, for me, because I just don't follow it closely enough, it's hard to say where anyone goes from here. I would like to think maybe Pete Dunne is going to get a decent move onto Raw or SmackDown, but I don't know, it seems like a weird one.
I can't see him falling down the card on NXT UK. That just can't happen.
What was actually kind of interesting was the contrast this match provided to the Velveteen Dream Matt Riddle match. Whereas the Velveteen Dream Matt Riddle match had a lot of kind of elegant, beautiful wrestling going on with some real fancy moves. This match was just an absolute beast of a match of people beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
I liked it as much as the Dream Riddle match in different ways, which was really cool. Especially the ending with the power bomb and then big splash.
Yeah, this was incredibly stiff. I actually, it's a weird one with this match. This is the match that I was probably, because I had such high expectations during it, there were times when I was like, why, am I feeling this? And I think it's because it seemed to me it was just basically the battle of the chops and the finger snaps. And obviously we know Pete Dunne loves joint manipulation, as we've heard Mauro Ranallo speak a number of times about how he likes finger food. And I just thought they maybe went to that well a few too many times, but maybe that's just me, having seen a number of Walter matches where his hands always get targeted.
Yeah.
Obviously, for the neutral, that is going to look pretty amazing.
Sort of having not watched as much Walter as you have, kind of, this match was very enjoyable for me. I think kind of Pete Dunne's matches generally start a bit slower than they end. Like, kind of, at the beginning, I'm always a little bit like, more joint manipulation, more stomping on the fingers, fun. But he always seems to build them up to a crescendo by the end of the match, which is always enjoyable.
Yeah. I love the way they sort of, he sort of hulks up a little bit himself, doesn't he? And I mean, towards the end, that little back and forth of chops.
Oh yeah, I liked it when they're stomping each other on the head, like when I mean, that was just, it was so stiff and it was so cool to watch. Just like people really just make it look really physical and painful.
Yeah, and the crowd were loving it. I mean, there are a number of UK chants, which is always pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, no Austria chants.
No,
Just saying.
That's true. I didn't appreciate Mauro bringing out the whole "this match is almost as contentious as Brexit." I was just like, come on, like, I don't want to be reminded of Brexit. This really is like my getaway from all normal life is watching wrestling. Come on, Ronaldo.
There's no escaping Brexit.
No escaping. I reckon there'll be somebody coming out with a Brexit gimmick at some point. I mean, they've already got the European Union tag team.
That's pretty good, actually. The finisher, like the Article 50. I like it.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that could work well. But yeah, it was a war, basically.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it.
The only thing I'd say about the finish and Walter's sort of splash is that I imagine Vince is going to be watching that thinking he needs to work on his chest. Because those, I mean, this, I don't know the appropriate thing to say here, but
I know what you're about to say, and I'm not
his
sure.
His man boobs in the slow motion, the way they moved, apart and then together and then apart again as he was coming down, that is not a good look.
So, do you know what, actually? Because going back to our earlier conversation about who would retire Brock, Walter would retire Brock. That's something I could see happening if the timelines worked out. Yeah,
that is feasible. But I mean, it's so cool. An absolutely huge stage for both of them. But obviously, Pete Dunne has been on that stage a number of times before. Walter is 31, so he's got a lot of his career ahead of him. It's exciting. It's very exciting, and it makes me want to watch NXT UK now, at least in the next few weeks, just to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, kind of who is? Yeah, I guess kind of Jordan Devlin and Travis Banks. I'm not really sure where they're going to go, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Well, maybe it will make me read the results rather than ignoring it. But we'll see. Let's move on then to the fourth match, which was the NXT Women's Championship Fatal 4-Way match. Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane versus Io Shirai.
I'm not sure this was... Maybe we should rephrase this. Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair versus Io Shirai and Kairi Sane.
Yeah. Versus the tag team. God, I mean, I know it's very obvious, but the idea of them potentially being a tag team on the main roster.
The Sky
now that
Pirates,
we have female tag. Yeah, God, that's going to be great.
I tell you what, those two work together really well. If like their goal in this match wasn't to win the title, but to show, hey, just in case you were wondering, we are totally the best tag team in NXT Women.
Yeah.
Here you go. And some of their tag team wrestling and just working together was amazing. I absolutely loved the catch the kiss and then bat it out of the ring.
Me too. That was brilliant. They just... The thing is, I mean, this is definitely my issue here, but they're so fun and they're so sort of... I don't want to say cute, but they're small Japanese women, and I know this is quite potentially degrading and patronising.
This is where we need John and Brett back to kind of step in.
Yeah. Well, no, because then the best thing about it is how hardcore they are. And obviously, having watched some of their matches in Japan, the stuff that both of them are able to do and the pain and the punishment they're able to take is just like a really good juxtaposition in a way.
To be honest, like my take on both Kairi Sane and Io Shirai, and extending to pretty much all Japanese wrestling, is that generally it comes across to me as a lot more theatrical than American wrestling. They're a lot more about kind of stupid over-the-top body motions than, say, for example, just shouting in the ring at someone. It's all about kind of looking the part with Japanese wrestling. And you can see this in Nakamura's wrestling and in Asuka's wrestling as well. And I think kind of Kyrie especially really exemplifies it a lot with her kind of, it's not just in the moves she does, it's in the way she runs across the ring, kind of doing that weird march and stuff. It just turns everything up to 11, and I really enjoy seeing that because it feels like they're putting a lot into their craft.
Yeah, agreed. The result to this, I think, fairly surprising. I think a lot of people were predicting somebody else would win, anyone but Baszler, and Baszler would then get the call up to the main roster, potentially get involved in the main event.
Do you know
WrestleMania.
I think this was a brave choice. I'm really on board with this.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing as well is during the match, Baszler nearly got pinned about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, she was out, and then it was just somebody broke up the pin. And I was surprised that they did that, because I thought that made her look kind of weak and obviously led us to believe that she definitely wasn't going to win.
Yeah, I think kind of everyone had quite a strong match in this, though. Like, kind of, we can agree that like Io and Kyrie were never going to win this. Like, that was never going to be in the cards. If it was going to be anyone, it was going to be Bianca. And
yeah, that's what I thought.
It was looking like it after the double. What was that finisher she uses? Kiss of Death.
The sort of power lift.
Oh god, that's sick. The double power lift or Kiss of Death or whatever. What a finish! Yeah. And then I really like kind of Baszler running in and putting in the Kirifuda clutch, and
it looks great. The way she falls to the ground.
I think Shayna Baszler for me is the best MMA to wrestling kind of conversion that I have seen in WWE so far.
Yeah.
I love her wrestling. I think kind of she comes across so authentic.
She does, actually.
She's got, for me, like a less elegant version of Ronda Rousey.
Well, the thing that she's had on her side is the fact that she's been a heel from the start.
Yeah, quite.
And you know, the fact that with Ronda, she was so popular and she was coming in smiling and waving at the fans and hugging people. That was kind of difficult.
Ronda was given a much harder role to play.
Yeah. And I think it went okay initially, but yeah, in terms of Baszler, she looks like a complete badass, and I think that's all she can play, to be honest.
I think kind of keeping her as NXT champion for a while is going to be really good for the division because it gives everyone who is kind of currently building up there something to aim for, and kind of hopefully gives Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke a little bit of time to develop as well. Meanwhile, Baszler can continue to look strong. It just works really well.
Yeah, agreed. So I think it's time to talk about the main event.
Oh boy.
Oh, fuck. This is the reason why we had to do this pod.
Okay, shall I start controversial?
Yeah, do it.
All right, cool.
Please be a good controversial.
I don't like 2 out of 3 Falls matches.
Okay, that's an okay start.
Yeah. Now, the reason for it is because you're kind of damning the situation here. You're either going to end up in a 2-0. Well, kind of feel like we got screwed out of a fall there.
Yeah.
Alternatively, and I kind of feel like this echoes your criticism of the Okada-Omega match from Dominion, is that the first 20 minutes or so are a little bit pointless because if you have a 2-1, you know, kind of like, yep, one of them will get the pin, you'll wrestle for 20 minutes, the other one will get the pin, and now the match starts.
I know what you mean, but I went into this with a similar feeling, and then I just thought it actually started quite hot. Yeah. And I thought immediately they were just showing what talented wrestlers they were. And I sort of just enjoyed watching the two of them do their thing. Yeah. And wasn't too fussed about the structure of the match or the fact that, you know, that first fall was going to come and it wasn't going to do anything. I thought the fact that the second fall came and it was and the fact that Cole tapped out immediately and the way that Combs sort of sold that as, you know, he's not risking any more damage because he's got the rest of the match to come. I thought that was really cool. Like, great narrative.
That's fair.
And I know you're just referring to the first 20 minutes, the first fall, but I thought it built quite nicely.
Well, that's the thing, is that kind of the flip side to the kind of criticism of the 2 out of 3 falls matches is the build becomes so much more involved because of that. And I suppose that's the point of the match. Because
this just built and built.
Holy shit! Like by the time they reach that end full, that kind of, you know, sudden death situation, just incredible. Like I don't understand how Gargano continues to put on matches so every time. It just makes me reevaluate my entire view of wrestling just because of how good he is. It just, my mouth was agape towards the end. Genuinely had a scream and shout moment when I was just like, yes, come on.
Yeah, I was so happy. And I think, like, I watched this last night, so Saturday night, and I'm gonna give the reaction I had then. I've had a chance to read a couple of reviews and see other people's reactions, and people are hot on it. Don't get me wrong, like, everyone is absolutely loving it, but nobody seems to be going quite as overboard as I'm about to, because I'd put this up there with the best matches that I've ever seen.
I have to agree with you there. I think this just had absolutely everything by the end. I loved it. The Canadian destroyers, the fairy tale ending on the table and the table not giving, the 9 count, the Undisputed Era running out, and it's looking like it's going to be a dirty finish, and I'm 100% sold on this. I'm thinking, oh, guys, no, you can't finish like this. And the kickouts, man, man, that interruption, the move that O'Reilly and Fish did on Gargano, this leg sweep and the kick or whatever it was, that looked so cool. It does. And then Gargano going like Hong Kong martial arts film out of the ring on the whole Undisputed Era, just like into the post, DDT super kick off the apron.
It worked perfectly.
Wow.
There wasn't a misstep. I mean, the only thing that went slightly wrong had nothing to do with them. It was the table. The table not breaking.
I've got to be honest,
it didn't matter.
I like it more when the table doesn't break.
Yeah, because then at least one of them gets to tumble to the ground.
It looks so brutal.
What about the bit where both of them had to sort of go back into their lockers for moves that they hadn't brought out for ages? And again, commentary, as we always say, NXT commentary is absolutely phenomenal, and it's mostly down to Ronaldo. But the fact that they were saying this is it, they've been wrestling for so long, nothing's working, and they're having to bring out these moves that they used to use way before they when they're on the indies.
Yeah,
that is so cool.
I love it.
It's such a cool thing.
Real lovely reference for the fans who have been following them, and just a real enjoyable match. And like I said, I had a moment at the end where it was, I can only describe it as England beating Colombia in the penalty shootout at the World Cup moment for me.
I know what you mean. It felt like the kind of incredible feeling that you only get if you're a fan of other sports.
Yeah,
I think
that's exactly what they did.
Watching Arsenal win a cup final or something.
They mastered a sports result, which in wrestling, is pre-scripted. They know what they're doing, obviously, but.
And that's, I mean, this is a huge advert for why wrestling is so good, because you go into this and you are guaranteed drama and excitement. And like you could sit down to watch a football match and you could get a 0-0. Every so often the stars will align and you will get huge drama. You might get a 4-3 or something.
Yeah.
But in wrestling they write it. Hopefully everyone realises that. I haven't just ruined it for everybody. But
when wrestling is
when
good,
it's good,
it's the best thing. And this is why we do the pod. This is it's just so enjoyable.
Yeah. I wrote down best match ever 6. I've broken my own star rating.
Oh, I thought you was like best match ever 6 out of 10. I was like, man, you're strict.
No, like this for me is my first 6-star match.
Wow.
I mean, I say that obviously that Okada, Omega, I understand why they were up there as well, and that's before I actually started recording my scores on the Grapple app. But it's definitely a 5-star. It was just it built and built and built. As we said, it had an incredible narrative, 2 great wrestlers. The crowd were hot.
Oh man, well, I mean, like that many last-second kickouts.
Yeah.
God damn.
And we had like just a few of the moves of like when Cole did the straitjacket German suplex.
Oh god, I love that.
How
move.
good does that look?
It looks so painful, bruh.
Yeah, we had the. Did you just say bruh?
Yeah, I did. Roll with it.
Okay, we'll skip over that. Suplex into the apron edge.
Beautiful.
The springboard sunset flip.
Mm-hmm. Keep going. Keep listing.
What about the obviously Gargano into the table?
Yeah.
The near count out.
Beautiful.
It just had everything. Obviously, when the Undisputed Era came in, the like O'Reilly's like fingers to the eyes, like the scraping down the face. That is just exactly what O'Reilly should and would do.
Yeah, exactly. Especially kind of after the injury that Gargano took off the ring post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
And then, do you know what? When Candice LeRae ran into the ring at the very end, I thought she was going to attack him. I was watching the way she jumped on him, and I was like, "Oh no, it can't be! It's Dolph Ziggler!" And I was like, "Oh no, it's Candice. It's fine."
Yeah, it was fine. And then obviously Ciampa came out. You could see there were a couple of minutes left on the clock, and I thought, surely he's just going to come out and they're going to celebrate. But there's always the thought, isn't there?
You don't hug Tommaso Ciampa, because one minute he's hugging you, the next he's throwing you into a light board and then smashing you off a table.
Exactly. Imagine he just peels off the neck brace. Diving headbutt.
God, huge for Johnny Gargano. I'm so happy for him. It's a difficult one to see where he goes from here.
I wasn't expecting it. I honestly thought Cole was going to win. I think
me
a lot of people thought Gargano's time will come, and it should come against Ciampa.
I guess that explains the short North American title stint.
Yeah. But it was just a thing of beauty. Like, I'm desperate to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of those moments where, when you're talking back about Johnny Gargano's career, that's going to be on one of the matches, one of the many matches that will make up what defined him as a wrestler in WWE and hopefully his wrestling career in general.
Yeah, for sure. He is Mr. TakeOver, that is for sure. Okay, well, I think we could probably go on for another 20 minutes just going into all the details of that match, but perhaps we'll let John and Brett have a little chat about it on the next pod. I'm sure, imagine if they come in, they're like, guys, I thought it was boring.
Oh man, not enough Miz and Shane McMahon.
Yeah. Speaking of the next pod, just to keep this brief, we don't need to stick a sting in here. We've got no hardest question of the week. We've got no listener correspondence. But next pod, obviously, is going to be the big one, WrestleMania. It's not going to be as good as this, but I'm hoping there's going to be at least 3, 4, maybe 4 standout matches. I'm very much looking forward to the main event.
The bar has been set very, very high.
Yeah, I thought you were going to suggest you're looking forward to seeing the bar then. But
are they on the card?
I don't even know.
Everyone's on the card. It's WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. But there's no point in predicting anything because a lot of people are going to listen to this after WrestleMania. So we will be back with, what's probably going to be quite a long pod reviewing that, which will be episode 64. But until then, I hope this sort of swift 2-man pod was up to our usual standards.
Yeah.
Not really that high.
Hopefully
anyway,
so.
Are they really? But
it's good because we've removed all the funny stuff and we've just got infactual, incorrect, wrong.
Yeah, poor analysis from one guy with a cold whose daughter's making lots of noise outside the room. So, yeah.
Cool. But if you do have any things about our analysis, you can get in touch with us at hardestpartofthering@gmail.com.
Yep.
You can catch us on social media at hardestpartpod on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
And if you really, really like our analysis, you can buy a t-shirt or something at hardestpartofthering.bigcartel.com.
God, that was so pro.
I know.
I think we just need to go it alone.
I know. This is it.
We should do a spin-off NXT pod.
Let's make all elite podcasting.
Ooh.
It's happening.
Yes. Good. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me, Sam.
Thank you, Adam.
Goodbye to you. Goodbye from me, Adam. And that was the hardest part of the ring.
That is the hardest